Good morning, everyone, Texas and everyone. I think we've got a lot of New York and a lot of Florida on recently, which is fun. Um, we're rounding out the end of the year. If you haven't checked your calendar, it is the first week of December, which means kind of everything that you put under contract, like maybe through this weekend, can close this year. After that, we're going into 2026, which is exciting all on its own. Anyone have any shout outs, any gratitude, any announcements that they want to make before we get started this morning? Shout outs, announcements, or gratitude? And I'll give you about 20 seconds and then we'll go from there. All right, it's a chill morning. We're gonna get started then. Um, those of you who have joined us maybe for the first time, we do these Texas Power Ups. We've been doing them. This is our fifth year. Next year will be our sixth year. We've been doing it since COVID. It was a way for us to all connect during that time, and we've just kept it going. This morning we have a really cool guy that I got to chat with. His name is John, and he is up on your screen. So if you're driving, don't look down. Just listen in. And if you're in front of your computer taking notes, that's awesome. Share them with all of us. But John is Southwest Florida, right, John?
Yes, that's correct. Southwest Florida.
Um, I loved getting to know John. John, his team leader is also John. This John is Jon. His team leader is John. Um, and I was looking for people who just had a great year, but not like in a, you can have a great year and the market gave you that great year. I was looking for people who the market didn't give them that great year. And so I connected with John. And John, kind of walk us through your background story. Like where did you come from? Like have you always lived in Florida? Just give us kind of the details to kind of lay the groundwork for us.
Oh, so I was born and raised right outside of Philadelphia. Right after college, I moved to, or actually in college, I moved to the Baltimore area. From there, I became a Baltimore City cop for 14 years.
Wow.
Um, June 21st of last year was my last day with a badge and gun. Essentially, I was doing that for a long time. Obviously, if you pay attention to the news, the last, 5 to 10 years of police work has gone downhill very significantly, and Baltimore City got extremely dangerous. And I was doing plainclothes drugs for 5 of those years. My last 5 years, I did, and I then met my wife, and we had 2 kids, and she basically told me if I didn't get out of Baltimore that she was going to divorce me. So.
All right, so we had a great career, long career. 14 years as a cop is a long time. And then wife said, we've got to get out of here. Where'd you guys end up going?
So we were started to look in Florida. I mean, we were taking trips, twice, 2 times, 3 times a year down to Florida. And every time we left, it was very, very sad. So every time we drove back, it was one of those things where we were like, you know what, why don't we live here? So we started looking in a lot of places, and we looked in Orlando and Daytona Beach, and her parents own a condo up in Punta Gorda, and we ended up looking at a place called Babcock Ranch. That's a master plan community here in Southwest Florida, right between, near Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and Punta Gorda area. And we ended up going, and my wife did all of this. She ended up going on to John Garudi's Facebook page, and that we run. And a realtor that's now my teammate, Sarah Hallett, reached out to us. And of course, my wife ghosted her for a little while. And we decided to come down and visit in February of last year. And she just said, hey, well, let's reach out to her and let's figure out, let's just go see it. And we did so. And we drove in here and I fell in love. And there's a lot more to that story, but yeah.
So basically, you guys are practically an internet lead that your wife ghosted the other agent, and then you guys ended up needing actual real estate help. Ended up buying down there or living down there, and uh, that was last year, just last year.
Yes, so we came in and we met with Sarah, and she did the whole tour with us. And we found a home that we loved, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to buy it. I didn't have a job, and I was just like, this is great. It's fun. It's fun to look at houses, and it's fun to think that you're going to move. But, you know, I never thought in a million years that I would move down here. And then she made an offhanded comment, and she said, "Well, why don't you think about getting into real estate?" And I kind of scoffed at her, and I was like, "Well, I can't not have a consistent paycheck. That's crazy. I might get paid here and there, but I need to support my family." And at that time, I had gotten diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And the 17 and a half hour drive back, I said to my wife, and I said, "Hey, I don't want to die in Baltimore City. I don't want to die doing this job where I'm, constantly stressed out, and you can see the grades in my beard. That's from my kids, but not, not from this job." And at that point, I decided to make the leap, and took the test, and 2 months later had my license, and we were buying a house.
Oh my gosh. But you have two kids. Tell me about that. So you have two kids and you're starting a commission career. What went through your mind? Was it scary? Like, did you burn through money? What did that look like?
Yeah, so essentially, I took out my retirement from Baltimore City, and I lived off of that, between that and the sale of my home up in Maryland. And we basically used that for the down payment and for the moving and everything like that. And we just kind of, I have a 2 and a 4 year old, and we just took the leap, and it was very scary. And I started, I met with John in April, and kind of got into it with them, but I wasn't here, and we moved July 1st of last year, and that was when I officially started in real estate.
Got it. So do you go into the office every day or what's your usual setup?
Well, we work from home through EXP. We have the home set up, and we do a lot on our on our home base of everything. So we just kind of a lot of it's just I have an office set up here in my house. So
Part of the reason you work from home is you have an autistic child.
yes, my 4 year old is autistic. So right now, Babcock Ranch is an amazing community, but it's still growing. We still have a lot of building and a lot of developing left to do. So they just don't have the resources right now for her to be accommodated. So we're still waiting on that, and they are building things that are coming, but not right now. So that is big part of my day, because my wife does work from home, and she has a job separate from real estate as well. Then most of my day is spent, taking care of her and making sure she's set up for the day.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring that up with everyone because oftentimes, we have young folks who join our teams and partner with us, which is awesome. There's um, your young years where you have really no responsibilities, some of the best years of your life to get ahead in. But some of us, have real life happening, some real responsibilities, children at home. In your case, a child who does need your care most of the day. So it limits the amount of prospecting that you can do. But I want to bring all this up because you set a goal this year and you set a goal. What was your goal for this year, 2025?
So my goal for this year was 30 homes. And one of the things we did on our business planning day, and John brought up, and we talk about, is having dumb goals. At the time when I made it last year, it was a dumb goal. It was something that I thought in my first year, I'd be happy if I sold 12, 15 homes, and that would be fantastic, just enough to put the food on the table and make sure that my family's taken care of and I'm making a little bit of money, and kind of just at least getting going in this business.
And you're going to hit 38.
As of right now, 38.
Okay. So I want to just lay that groundwork before we kind of get into some nitty gritty. John, Baltimore City cop for 14 years, came down to Southwest Florida, is in a master plan community of about 10,000 or so people. There's other realtors. He's not the only realtor there, unfortunately, that he's competing with. Brand new to real estate. Last year, started July, August, kind of got his feet going in the real estate industry. This is his first true full year. Going to close out 38 deals, and a lot of that is while he's also, a main caretaker of his child during the day, because it's still a smaller community and they don't quite have the resources yet for her. So how do we do this, right? Like, initially, you relied on the team. What did that look like initially? Like, how did you start your first few months of real estate? Walk us through that, and then I'll wrap up anything that we forgot.
I mean, honestly, my first few months of real estate, like, John, Sarah, Greg, all the guys on our team, all the females too, it took us under the wing, took me under the wing and really kind of just one talked me off a ledge, to be honest with you. I mean, there was a time in the first 6 months when I was driving for Uber Eats to try to just make ends meet because I had gone through my 14 years of retirement and my sale of my home money, and I was just kind of like just kind of skating by and just kind of hoping that the next deal comes. And it was scary. It was honestly a scary time. And John ended up bringing me on tours, and he ended up kind of believing in me, essentially. And he really brought me to brought me a deal or two that he would help out on. And you know, I'd say probably that first 5 to 6 months from July to about December, January, it was scary. Because like you see the money coming out, but you don't see the money coming in. And at that time, January came and one of my friends reached out from Baltimore. And she had a friend from home that reached out and she wanted to buy down here. And that happened, and then all of a sudden it just exploded. And really, I was relying on a lot of the team because John has built a huge base down here, not just in Southwest Florida, but specifically Babcock Ranch. You know, this community honestly does sell itself. And this place is a fantastic community. But I was relying on those leads because of the base that he had built. And, it was just a matter of taking care of the people that I got from him, and making sure that they were happy and making sure that they were treated as I would have wanted to be treated. I had history in buying and selling homes of my own. Obviously I wasn't the realtor at the time, but, kind of seeing, and I had friends that had bought and sold homes and heard their stories and kind of got a little bit of information about what I would and would not want to do as a realtor. We had a realtor up in Maryland, good guy, great guy, but it took me 2 days to hear back from him when I had a question. And that was the one thing it would really honestly it would piss me off, because like I had questions and I wanted to know what was happening and I didn't hear from you. That was the one thing that I really wanted to emphasize when I got into this business is just being in front of people, always being available, on my time, but just making sure that they knew that I was there for them.
So what it sounds like to me is the team that you joined, John's team, he did establish a really great reputation in your market. And you guys had good team leads. You guys have a good YouTube channel. You guys have good online leads. But it's not just enough to just have good YouTube leads and good online leads. Because you are really quick to them. So it's not like you wait a day or you wait 3 hours. So we'll jump into that. And then you also shadowed John, and mentored with him. And that really gave you the confidence in the community that you were selling as well. And then all the team members that you were able to call on. That was kind of like the first 6 months is just getting the energy for the business. What was your mentality during this time? Like, was this just something you were going to try out? What was your mentality?
No, I mean, so when I first met with John, in April of last year, we sat down at one of the restaurants over here and he said, he was like, "Oh, you passed your C shop exam." And I said, "No, no, I have my license." And he was like, "Well, wow." Because it was only 2 months. And I literally did all of this at work in Baltimore. I said to my friends, I said, "You know what? I'm jumping full head in, 10 toes in, and I'm not going to stop. Like, this is what I want to do." And, John said, "Well, this is to me and our team, this is a full-time job. This isn't something we do part-time. This isn't something we do on the side. This is your job." And that's how I took this as mentality. And it was either sink or swim, right? Like I jumped in and that was it. Like either I made it work or I went broke and I had to find a new job. But I just made sure that didn't happen.
To be on leads on your team, what does that look like? Do you guys have calls a week or like how many, like what does it look like to even get the leads on your team?
Well, right now it's 100 calls a week minimum. I don't know if I'm thinking John might be on here, but I know that the 100 calls is definitely like a minimum. He would love to see us make more calls, and it's not easy down here. We don't have a very big market, and we don't have a ton of leads that come in. I mean, this is a niche market for the most part. I mean, there's not a huge there's not a huge amount of uh, job resources here. This isn't a major metropolitan city where people come and they have a job already lined up. A lot of people that come here that aren't retired are, remote workers, my wife, people who, are relocating maybe for a specific job, but it's not a huge market. This is a beach town. People come here, they want to buy maybe for, something where they're spending 3 to 6 months. And they're retired, they might snowbird. So it's not like a massive market, say in Orlando or Miami or Tampa. So we don't have a ton of leads, and we do have leads, but we don't have a crazy amount. A lot of times, if you're making calls, a lot of my calls are to clients that I currently have, past clients, or I go into the lead ponds and I dip into those. And you know, I've been, I've been called a lot of things in my police job, so I'm not worried about how angry people get if I'm cold calling. But you know, that's really our lead, 100 calls a week, and then, making sure your overdue tasks or tasks that you have are completed. Um, you know, Open houses, stuff like that. But mainly the 100 calls and the overdue tasks is where he wants to emphasize that. But at least making those 100 calls, like, making sure that you're reaching out to people and following up and making sure that you're constantly touching people that maybe maybe they weren't ready 6 months ago, but they may be ready now. And I've had that happen a bunch of times.
So the way I want you guys to think about this is imagine in your market, where is a community of 10,000 people, whether that's a couple subdivisions, whether that's a zip code, right? That's the equivalent of what John is doing in his market is they've got a master plan community that is it's a large master plan community, but his opportunity is that's his farm essentially. So those are the people he's calling constantly. I want to jump into some from our conversation, like 5 key things that I took away from how you were building your business, if you want to expand on any of them. The first one was calling your leads very quickly and being very responsive. What does that mean to you? Because this was part of your secret sauce. Because I would say in your market, just like any other farm area that anyone would choose, you could probably sell 3 or 4 homes just like normal, but to sell 30 or 40, I mean, you're 10xing what everyone else is doing. So there's something to it. And the first thing that I picked up from you is you call your leads very quickly and you're very responsive. What does that mean to you? Talk us through that.
I mean, we have obviously with our database, and we have, the Brevity database and everything that we do through, and I see questions and I can answer those after that are in the chat. But essentially, we get these leads that come in, or somebody may reach out to us, and sometimes I get leads at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not able to reach out to them for a little bit, but really, I always make sure when we do get new leads or we do get somebody that is interested, whether they're not interested in 2 years, 10 years, or they're interested in buying next weekend. I want to make sure that I'm touching them. Sometimes people put in their fake information and it's not possible, but I want to make sure that I'm constantly reaching out to them, whether that be through email, setting up on listing alerts, market reports with a seller, or um, just having that phone conversation or at least text message conversation. Because some people love to text instead of call on the phone. There are a lot of people out there that are like, I don't really want to talk on the phone because I can talk your ear off. But it's just a matter of just being in front of somebody, just constantly being in front of somebody. Like I told you, like I said, yesterday, there's there's really not anything like crazy about this job. I mean, I know that there's a lot. Like I'm a rookie. Like there's probably people on here who make me look like when I was a cop, I did 14 years. When I was a 14-year veteran, and I had somebody that came in that was 6 months on and just got out of the academy, I'd be like, You don't know a damn thing. Like, relax. Um, so I'm sure that I'm sure that happens in real estate as well. And uh, that's one of those things. Like, I don't know everything. I'm still very much learning. I don't know. I honestly don't know much compared to most people. But the reason why I try to, when I get in front of somebody, whether they take a tour or they're on the phone, or I'm showing them homes, resales, or new construction, it's just a matter of making them feel comfortable. Just trying to connect with them and trying to find common ground. Um, just through anything, you just listen to them. That's really what I try to do is you listen to what their life story is, their jobs, where they're coming from, what their backgrounds are, and then try to find that common ground and just make sure that their story's told while you're, helping them out.
Yeah, I love that because the first thing that I picked up from you was how quick and how responsive you are just from all of our communication. Like, guys behind the scenes, it takes a lot to like put these things together. He's awesome and quick and responsive. And then the second thing I picked up from you was finding that connection, like really connecting with clients. And one of the things that I remember you said was people really don't care like how much you really know. Like, I mean, like they do care about some level of expertise, but there's implied expertise just by having a real estate license, by the way, guys, for better or worse. Um, People work with people they like and trust, and you have really made it your mission to really connect with people and find common ground. And I know that probably comes from your background in the police work that you've done, right? Is being able to find common ground with people, and it now shows up in your real estate career. But now you get to give good news versus bad news, I would say, right?
Yeah, I mean, those 14 years, and I think I took that and I kind of twisted it, right? We talked about that last night, and I said, for 14 years, I was talking to people of all walks of life, whether they be murderers and drug dealers, even worse than that, or, dignitaries or people with, millionaires and people with money. And I was talking to them and I was dealing with them at what could have been the worst moment of their life to that point. You know, I've talked to people in every scenario, murders, drug deals, rapes, homicide, like you name it, I've done it. And now instead of talking to somebody at the worst moment of their life and trying to talk them down and trying to make them understand that I'm here to help, and I want to make sure that you're happy. Now I'm talking to people at a happy moment. And it makes it real easy to transition from, you know, hey, something crazy happened and I need to break this news to you and I need to be able to make sure that you don't go off the deep end. Now to, okay, let's go find your beautiful new home here in sunny Florida. It's a great opportunity to kind of twist what I learned for so many years and use that for something different.
I love that. The third thing that I noted from talking to you last night was you really you're building deep connections, and what I mean by that is you're inviting your clients to be part of your world. Last night you were at a cornhole tournament when we were talking, and it like you're always following up with them, like your Merry Christmases, your Happy Birthdays, how are you guys doing? How's the pets doing? Like you really want to be their friend. Like where's that mentality coming from, and is it showing up as business in your business?
Well, I've always tried to be a friendly person. I've always tried to be friends with everybody that I meet, and making sure that everybody feels, happy and comfortable around me. Um, you know, I try to get in, one of the things, my wife's sitting to my left, so she'll laugh when I say this, but her dad is actually like the most personable person you'll ever meet. Like they live up in New York and he talks to everybody. I mean, everybody. It doesn't matter if they have a scowl on their face or they're happy. He will talk to you and he will engage you in conversation regardless. And I always say that when I moved down here, because I was kind of an introvert when I lived up there, I went to my work the 8, 16, 20 hours a day, and I came home and I wanted to be with my kids. I wanted to watch my football games and be left alone. And when I got down here, I wanted to change that, and I wanted to really get involved with this community because this community is developing. We have 10,000 residents, give or take, right now, but we're going to have over 50,000 residents when this is done, in the next 15 years. So really getting in front of people and being involved in the community, and John's really really good with that. with the team and getting involved in the community, sponsoring events. Tonight or tomorrow night we have the Christmas tree lighting here, and then on Saturday we have a holiday extravaganza, and on the weekend we have a community softball tournament. We have over 21 communities that are all competing together to win a prize for charity. So getting involved in all of that and putting yourself and your face, not just myself, but the team in front of sellers, potential buyers, people who are looking at Babcock Ranch just for a weekend or they're renting here. Just making sure that people see that, we are involved in the community. We are people that, really care about making sure that this community is as great as it looks online.
I love that. I love that. Out of the five, like kind of like what I called your secret sauce, because again, anyone can sell 3 to 4 homes a year. Selling 30 to 40 is where that's a 10x. One of the things you said was that you really value going above and beyond for clients. Um, what does that look like to you? Like, why does that matter to you? What does it look like to you? Because everybody will
Um,
say that, but
I'm
like,
gonna if you don't mind, I'm gonna answer that. But do
yeah,
you mind if I answer the two questions real
go
quick?
for it.
The 38 transactions, they were mainly buyers. Honestly, right now we are in a very heavy buyers market. So a lot of sellers are a little bit hesitant. I'm still learning the listing side of things. I've had about, I think, four listings so far, and I have another one coming in a couple weeks. So mainly buyers, just because that's kind of the where we're at right now down here. Selling is it's tough, especially outside of Babcock. Babcock, if you price it right, it's going to sell. Outside of Babcock, same thing, but that market is a little bit harder. Just because of, the area, the insurance, the age of the homes, a lot of things. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I know there's been some articles about Cape Coral being the worst market in America right now. It's true and it's not true, but it's harder. So mainly buyers. Um, the and then this community is just south of Punta. We're actually technically Punta Gorda, so it's kind of in between Punta Gorda and Fort Myers, about 30 miles, about 30, we're 30 feet above sea level, and we're about maybe 40 minutes inland from like Fort Myers Beach. So we are one of the cool things about this community is we are hurricane, I wouldn't say proof, but we're resilient. Everything is built to Miami-Dade hurricane standard and above. And really a lot of the people that live in Cape Coral and Fort Myers Beach and on the beach towns have been, contact us to move out here because every year, minus this year, their home gets flooded, because we do live very close to the coast, but right here we're hurricane safe-ish. Hurricane safe. I'd say hurricane safe, not proof because you never proof from anything, but a lot of people move out here so that they could be in Southwest Florida and really enjoy the weather and enjoy the tropical climate and being in, close to the beach, but not close enough where the ocean will end up in your backyard.
Right on, right on. What does going above and beyond for your clients mean to you?
It really just making sure that people see your face, just being constantly involved in the situation. I know, and I said this when one of the sales reps over at Lennar, because I had some tougher-ish, not bad, but new construction contracts that were closing last week, and there were some issues, lending issues and construction issues, and it was, one of the things he said to me was, you really, you might annoy us because you're always always in our face, but you're constantly doing something. Like a lot of clients, they want to see you being able to fight for them, essentially. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a builder and I'm not a sales rep and I don't work for the builders, but I can obviously be that middleman for those clients. And a lot of times clients don't want to have to talk to, the sales reps. So they don't want to have to talk to the construction managers. But that's where I come in and make sure that they do that. And one of the things that I was heard from them is a lot of agents don't do that. They take them to the houses, they find the house, they get the contract signed, and you may not hear from them again for until closing day. And I want to make sure that that is not who I am. I want to make sure that I am constantly updating them on, even if it's the easiest transaction in the world, just updating them on pictures, seeing their home, making sure that they feel comfortable, doing closing days. Doing final walkthroughs for them if they're not in town, because we do have most of the people that live in Babcock are not from Florida. They're moving from Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Canada. So a lot of them aren't in town for this. So I am that person that has to be their eyes and ears on the ground.
I love that. So it sounds like to me that you're treating this not as a transaction, you're treating this as a long-term relationship with constantly advocating for them is what you're doing, constantly on it for them.
Right.
I had a real good question from David. How do you time block? Because obviously you have to service your clients, whether you're prospecting in the pond or whether you're calling team leads back or you're following up with open house leads. You've got parenting responsibilities. Like, how does that work? Is there a rhyme and reason? If not, how many hours are you truly working in a week? Can you give us some insight?
It's honestly all over the place. My time blocking is terrible. I do one of the things when I can. A lot of times I have to preface the phone calls to clients with, I apologize for my daughter in the background. She may scream. Um, and usually they're cool with that. But it's hard to sit down. I kind of have to work around my wife's schedule as well, because she has meetings and she does what she does, and she's been fantastic, and she's obviously really the backbone of everything that I do in here, and it's kind of like making sure that she gets her stuff done because she still does make a paycheck, and making sure that I have at least a little bit of time in between to do what I need to do in order to, get going. So like we'll kind of split that responsibility, and a lot of time, a lot of what I do is outside of the house. Most of my calls that I make are actually from the car. So like a lot of times when my wife has very important meetings, I'll hop my daughter in the car, or she can sit in the back seat, and I actually make my calls and I take her to different places. So like, take her to the park, and I'll actually have those phone calls outside of the house. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just I kind of wing it, honestly. I need to get better with it, but I just my time blocking and my follow-ups are very all over the place and spread out.
How many hours do you think you're working right now?
Well, this past month was probably 9 or 10 hours a day for every day, except for maybe one day of the week. That's because I had 13 or 14 closings this month. Now everything is closing, and my last closing is tomorrow. And now I'm getting tours, and now I'm trying to build that back up.
Yeah.
So like next week, I'll probably have a little bit more of a down week. So maybe, probably 10 to 20 hours a week, and depending on, what I have going on. It's not a lot, honestly. Like a lot of times I tell people, and I tell my friends this, who I'm trying to get down to move here, and if you ever want to get into real estate, like if you don't have kids, you have all the time in the world. Like you could sit down. If I didn't have to watch my dog, I would sit down for probably 10 hours a day and just and go through my CRM and make my phone calls, um and it's hard. It's hard to get everything done. Now, how I got to 38, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I mean, like I said, it's really just getting in front of people, and now I'm getting those referrals, right? Like now, instead of relying just on John's leads, which I do have John's leads, and I will try to continue to do that to kind of supplement things. But now John's leads are turning into referrals because I'm trying to treat those clients with how they want to be treated and make them happy. I've made a lot of friends that are work clients and now friends, and that's really what I want to continue to do.
I love that. Deanna has a great question. With dealing with a lot of buyers, are you currently doing the Place Open House Challenge or have you tried to do it in the past? And if you have, how do you organize your time?
So I'm doing the challenges like the challenge. Honestly, I'm gonna hit two out of the five at least. I mean, I've already hit at least the buyer broker agreements. The open houses. I probably could do more, but it's hard because, with the amount that we need to do, I have to watch my daughter during the day. Like I could do, two or three during the week, but being gone for 2 hours in the afternoon while my daughter's here with my wife is hard unless I'm going on a tour where I know those people are going to be potential buyers, and that's, a client that I'm currently having. Because sometimes you sit at open houses, it's hit or miss. I've gotten open houses where I've gotten double deals out of, and I've sat at open houses where I watched Sunday football all day.
Mhm.
Um, so I I should be doing it. I should be doing a lot of it. But a lot of it I'm not doing, and
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's life circumstances, right?
Right,
So listen, if this was 15 years ago and you're a young buck and got no kids, got no responsibilities, I better see you out there doing, 30, 40 a month like nobody's business because all you got is time. All you got
right.
is time. Um, Kelly had a great question. Your lead sources for business, where is your business coming from? I think from what I remember, it's Sphere, it's team leads, it's some open houses. Is there anything that I've missed?
So really, with a lot of the leads that we get as a team, not just myself, John has really established himself, and I know I touched on this earlier, but he really established himself in Southwest Florida, or Babcock especially, um, where he had we have our website. So you type in Babcock Ranch, we have Babcock Ranch New Homes, and a ton of people go and use that as a resource because they don't really have a resource out there like through Babcock to see all the models and the price they real-time pricing and the HOA and the CDD fees and all that other stuff. We do. And one of the things that they've done and all the background, our operations manager and our transaction coordinators and everything have gone into this, and they have updated everything. And where if you want to look at it, you have to register. So if you register and somebody's actively looking, it gets sent out to us in real time as they register. And then he has his YouTube channel, which he is looking to expand, to more of Southwest Florida. And between him and Greg, my teammate, they do a fantastic job. A lot of the people that I tour, hey John, we found Babcock from your YouTube. It's a fantastic place, and you guys have an amazing YouTube channel. And that's really, the basis of our leads. And we have a whole Facebook page. And we reach out to these Facebook leads, that come in once a week. And it's we have a lot of sources of that, and it's just kind of just putting yourself in front of you. And then obviously once those leads come in, and now I'm getting referrals from my spheres.
Right
So
on. Last thing I'm going to wrap up with, thank you for taking the time for questions as well. The last thing you said to me that I really loved and why I think you're so successful is that you sell people on the dream. Your conversion rate is really high because you're selling people on the dream. Um, like, is it because you believe in what you sell? Why do you feel so confident in this?
honestly, this place is easy to sell. If anybody ever came down here and they drove in, they would be like, "Oh, now I understand." This place is amazing, and it's going to be even more amazing as it grows. So I don't have to do much work with this, but it's just a matter of because some people come and they're very hesitant. This may be the largest purchase of their life if they're moving here permanently, or this may be just something that they're looking to spend a couple $100,000 on in cash and live 6 months out of the year or 3 months out of the year. But it's just a matter. It's my job to make them want to make them understand like what's coming, like make them understand what this community is about. And I think I told you yesterday, like I moved here because where I was living, when I grew up in when I was growing up in the 90s, my parents used to take me out of the house, and I used to run around with my friends for 8, 9 hours a day, and ride bikes, and they would just tell me to come back at dark. You couldn't do that in Maryland. Like you couldn't, somebody would get kidnapped or hurt or robbed or something. And at that point, I moved down here, and this community really brings back that feeling of family and that feeling of just safeness. And it is such a diverse community, so that's where I sell people on. I have these conversations with everybody, and make them feel comfortable because there's always objections to everything. So it's really just selling those people on why you want to move here. and giving them that information.
I love that. What's the average price point in your area?
We have average is about mid 400s. We have everything from condos and houses that are in the 200s up to 4 million.
Okay. I love that. What's your goal for next year?
My goal for next year would be 50 homes and 300 GCI.
Okay, so 300 total GCI, 50 homes sold. That sounds good to me. Well, I'm going to find you guys as YouTube because I want to find it for everybody and post it on here. Um, can you pop your contact information in for us?
Sure.
That would be awesome. Um, and if you have you guys' YouTube, I would love to link it for everybody. Um, just as we wrap up, just so everybody can see kind of the content that they're putting out there, because this is one thing you could do yourself. Like as an agent, if you have a small community that you're really excited about, like what it sounds like what you guys are doing is you're taking the information for these communities and you're creating content around it, and you're doing it year after year after year, and you know your team lead John has been doing it for so long that now people build trust around this. And like it's not complicated. It's just, you know, picking something that you want to do and then doing it. I love that. I see your cell phone number. What I would encourage you guys to do is put John in your phone, John Boyer. Just put Florida under his name. You got a referral for Florida. He
Living
probably
in
has
Southwest Florida
somebody.
with. So the YouTube channel is Living in Babcock Ranch, Florida, or Living in Southwest Florida. That's what a part of they're connected. He's got two.
Okay. I'm gonna find both of them. So in the email that's gonna come out, I'm gonna link them for you guys. Really super appreciate this because all of us have a 10,000 person community or a farm that we could take a lot of what you've done and do the same thing, right? So going from 0 deals to 38 deals, and to go from 38 deals to take it up to 50 deals. And is 50 your dumb number or is that your floor? Just so I'm clear.
Well, if you asked me that a year and a half ago, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
That is not a dumb goal. A dumb goal for me would be 75. Could I
Okay.
hit it? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe now that I'm more established and it might happen, but dumb goal would be 75, 50 would be, I mean, that's only 12 more than I did so far this year. So, um,
I'm gonna put you on my calendar for next year in December because I want to hear where we ended up, the floor or the dumb goal. Anywhere from 50 to 75, we'd love to see. Love to see how you continue to build out what you're building out. And guys, if you followed along, one thing that I really loved is somebody asked them, "Did you ever think about getting into real estate?" My question to you guys is, who do you guys know that you guys need to ask ever think of getting into real estate? Because John got into real estate because somebody said something to him, right? He overcame the scare factor, right? Like he's got 2 kids, a wife at home, right? Like everybody's got like things that they're scared about. Like you blew through $100,000 essentially between down payments and living expenses, like essentially in the first 6 months. That's a scary thing. And you guys have your autistic child, and I've got an autistic child. I know how difficult it is to get work done. And you drove Uber Eats to make this happen. You have a market of 10,000 people. All of us have a market of 10,000 people somewhere, right? You wanted to hit 38 units. You wanted to hit 30 units. That was your dumb goal, and you flew past that. So we're really excited to see what the next little bit will be like. Because at the end of the day, I think the reason that you're 10xing and other people do 3 or 4 is your mentality is in the right place. Your mentality is, this is my job. This is what I'm gonna do until I decide to retire. People can feel that. People love it. You are an advocate for them and you're building relationships. It is as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Price point for the community is around mid 4s. Awesome. Love it. You guys, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. John, thank you for joining us this morning. And
thank you for the invite. I really appreciate you guys
yeah,
listening. Appreciate
what an
having me forward.
inspiration. All of us want to visit over there apparently, and we all want places out there. So we're saving your number. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
come on out. It's a great place to be, and you're super close to all the beaches.
Love
So
it.
if you ever
Love
you
it.
love the beach, come on out.
We love the beach. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll see you next week, and we will continue to be inspired by people who are doing inspiring things. Sometimes we need to hear it. because life is hard and it's fun to hear when people are winning. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Thank you guys.
Sean.